You ever been out riding before and wish you could charge your cell phone or plug in an auxiliary device for just a little bit more charge? Well, today I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to add an auxiliary power port to this Z650, so stay tuned. Alright, ladies and gents, I picked up this car accessory kit from the local Radio Shack that recently closed, went out of business. And they were just about giving these things away. I've been asked a few times about how people can add charging ports for their cell phones and other little devices to their motorcycle and do a video about it, so here you go. This little kit came with a mounting bracket where it just snaps in after you mount this. Well, I really don't want to drill any more holes into this bike, so I think I've come up with a way that I can mount it just to the bottom. Now, I've taken the two extra plugs that are on this bike and pulled the little styrofoam piece out so I can swing them out of my way. And I'm going to mount this to the bottom side without any screws. How am I going to do that? Pretty simple. I'm going to use zip tie. And you can see the little dark circles from where the pillion sets on here. We want to make sure that the head of the zip tie is not right in the way whenever we tighten this thing down. So for this particular model, I'll put a link to this model number below. Hopefully you can still get them from Radio Shack. I'll also put a link to something I can find comparable, maybe from Amazon. That way you guys can at least have a point of reference if you want to do this on your own bike. But because this thing snaps in, I'm going to go ahead and fish the zip tie down through the first hole and then back up the second hole and leave just a small little pigtail like that. So fish the zip tie through just like that. Now we're going to go ahead and snap the module in place. Okay, now this thing is fused, and it did come with a fuse inside. 10 amp fuse. That is going to be quite a lot. That's okay. I don't assume you guys are going to be plugging in any crazy large devices. At least I hope you don't try to on a motorcycle battery. Now, I am going to opt to wire this straight in to the battery without being through a relay off the ignition switch, because I want this thing to be powered at all times, even when the ignition is off. Okay. Now, I'll explain to you why I'm going to do that after we put this thing on. So, this has a notch, lines up with that. Okay, the flap opens to the side, so there we go, that'll work. I don't want it to open up where it might hit the bottom of this bracket. So we're just going to go ahead and snap this thing in, just like that. It's good and sturdy. We're going to run the wires underneath and just let them hang off the bike for now. Now let's see if we can get this harness moved. We're going to stick the long loose end up through and stick the other one through the other hole. Okay. Get that started. Let's see if we can work it around here. Get the wire and harness. It's a little tighter for me because I also have a rapid bike module, but I've got a good 3-inch gap between where the plug is and where the rapid bike module. You may not be able to tell that from the camera angle, but there's about 3-inch open space. And we're going to push this bracket firmly up against the bottom and work the zip tie until we get it nice and tight. There we go. Seems to be all right. Now I have one of my little charging adapters with me so I can test fit. This is a new process for me as well as you guys watching. No pre-rehearsal. It plugs in, comes out. Now you want to make sure that on the positive and negative wire leads that everything is insulated. That way if you put the seat cushion on, it doesn't get grounded out. If there's a metal bracket in the way, to make sure you have total and complete clearance. And there, that's pretty daggone tough. You also want to make sure that it's not in the way. Alright, we're not going to contact the seat latch, so that's good. I'll pull that out for now. Put the plug back on. Take my trusty little clippers, clip that zip tie off. Alright, and now what I'm going to do is attach to the battery here. Now before I said that I was going to do this directly to the battery without being through the ignition switch. This plug is going to serve a dual purpose for me. Not only will I be able to throw my extra GoPro batteries back here and let them charge while I'm riding, bonus, but I'll also be able to plug in my solar panel, my small battery maintainer, directly into the DC port. Now you can get these things on Amazon, Harbor Freight, all over the place. Just be careful about what you get as far as a battery maintainer. If you get a solar cell, you need the charging diode in it because they can drain the battery if it does not have that current limiting diode. So, but that's what I'm going to use it for. I'm going to put a drop down cord above the bike here where I can just drop it down from the ceiling, plug that bad boy in. Solar panel is suction cup to the glass there, and during the winter time when I don't get to ride that much, the battery stays maintained and I don't have to worry about a dead battery when I come out to start the bike, or if we do have an occasional nice day I can jump on the bike and go for a ride, not have to worry about charging. So that's my dual purpose. If you do want to go and have this thing switched where you can accidentally leave something plugged in, you're going to have to pull the manual or the service manual and look and see what fuse or spare or relay is located that you can tap off of. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave these leads just as long as you see them, as long as they came. Don't really want to shorten anything. I'm going to strip this down a little bit. Looks to be like 16 or 18 gauge wire, and I've got number 10 terminals. That's all I had with me. Big enough to fit the screw. So yeah, it looks maybe number 16. But I'm going to twist it up real nice, and then I skin it about twice as long as I needed. And then I just doubled it over to make it fat. Then I'm going to stick that bad boy in there. Use my handy dandy crimpers. These things are old, probably about 15 years old. They've served a good life though. Okay, good tight connection on that. The ground already has one on it, as you can see. Hopefully it's big enough for the bolt. Maybe, maybe not. There's only one way to find out. Grab a Phillips screwdriver. Now we're going to take the ground off the battery. That's good and tight. We'll worry about dressing everything up after we get it all buttoned up. Okay, not big enough. So I'm going to go ahead and crimp another one onto this. Okay, and we got the ground redone here. Got my bolt through. Now I have several other little devices here that are attached. One is my lighting, the other is the rapid bike. I have all kinds of stuff here. Make sure you get your battery bolt snugged back properly. The loose battery connection can lead to all kinds of issues. Now, I don't like typically using a socket to tighten my battery back down because you can also strip it out very easily. So for that, Phillips screwdriver. Direct pressure and turn. Make sure everything's tight. It's good. Now we're going to do the opposite on the positive side. Now you want to be careful when you're doing the positive side. You don't want your screwdriver to lay over or use a wrench. This is another reason why I use a screwdriver. You don't want to contact any metal while you're on that battery post. Doing that with a socket is really easy because everything's metal. Screwdriver is isolated, insulated. This one is really insulated. But just be careful when you're doing this. You don't want to short anything out. We'll get the little boot pushed back here. Give you a little better angle there. I'm getting the boot back out of the way. We're going to, that one was fairly loose. And again, make sure everything is turned to the appropriate position where you're not going to ground out on anything. Direct pressure, good and snug. Feel everything, make sure it's nice and tight. Now we're going to neaten these wires up. Pull the fuse back to here. We'll route the wires around. There's my positive out of the way. And my ground. Bringing it around. Tuck it down out of the way. I use the bike's existing wiring harness to keep everything snug, work it down in there real nice. And then I'm going to just work my slack back to one point here and start looping it together. I'm going to try to leave the top of the fuse holder where I can access it easily. There's two. Clip off the slack. Just tuck that back nice and neat, just like that. Now, let's plug our little charging unit in. And this thing should light up blue around the edges when I plug it in. That will tell me that I am getting a 12 volt to 5 volt conversion. And there you go. There's the blue, you can see. Now, you don't even want to leave this plugged in. If you go straight to the battery just like I did, do not leave this plugged in, because even that little bit of draw from that LED will drain your battery. So make sure, if you're going to use any type of USB power adapter, take it out. You can leave it laying in there, that's fine. But do not forget to take this thing out. So now you can plug in your camera, extra batteries, you can plug in your cell phone, you're good to go. And there you go, guys. Now you have auxiliary power on your bike, and all you'll have to do is run your standard accessory cord from this along the edges around the body up to the handlebar, and you can get your handlebar mount to plug your phone in, whatever. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to hit like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to hit me up. Thanks for watching all. Ride safe. We'll see you next time.